Well, hey guys, I hope you're all doing well. I'm excited to have you guys here, Tyson and Jake. We got some good content for you today. When they first came and told me about their program, I was pretty impressed because it's different than credit repair. It's more credit restoration. It's removing things from your credit, and they're going to go in detail on what they do and how they can help people raise their score pretty dramatically, pretty quickly. And it's amazing how fast they've grown since the first time we met. You guys are just growing. I mean, they're in all 50 states. This is pertinent to all you guys, everybody on the team, no matter where you are. They're going to be able to help you service your clients. And so take some notes, and I'm going to turn it over to Tyson and let you run with it, Tyson.
Sounds good. Let me get the screen share going here.
Okay.
We'll do that in a sec. Let me introduce ourselves first. So I'm Tyson Kohler. I got my business partner here, Kyle Jacobson. We are the founders of WYPE Solutions. You see our Zoom on there. It says TKC Consulting. We just went through a rebrand. We are now more in the modern tech age. We want to give more of that vibe, simple, streamlined, a lot more relevant, ahead of the curve. Okay, so what we'll do here is now we'll get the screen share going. Can everybody see that?
Yep.
Okay.
Your PowerPoint.
Yeah. Down there. Okay, guys. So WYPE Solutions, right? Our mission statement is empowering all through credit worthiness. We know now more than ever with all this COVID crap going on is that like Josh Middle talked about last week, right? We know the credit box is shrinking a lot, especially in the real estate world. And so we knew we had a great solution before, but now more than ever, we feel like our services is even more necessary and a part of really everyday business. Okay, so a little bit about who we are, right? I'll let Kyle take this one.
So yeah, so we're basically just dedicated team of individuals. We have financial lawyers, tech entrepreneurs, really to where we can cover a wide different angles. Over 30 years of experience within the credit repair world. Really just developing and streamlining our craft to really dedicate to make sure that we can appeal to the masses and really revolutionize the entire credit world as you know it, and really bring this industry to the modern tech age with AI technology and so forth, and being able to cut the time frame of how we can clean people up and really get them back to you so they can close on a home.
Yeah, right. Because we know that traditional credit repair is slow, it's drawn out. If you have clients who you send over, time frames when you get them back, right? I mean, we know that traditionally most credit repair agencies are taking somewhere between 4 to 6 months minimum. You might get a decent jump. I think that Josh Middle talked about last week that he had a client that went up 30, maybe 40 points in 2 months. In today's world and where we're at now, that doesn't do a whole lot of good, right? We need better results than that, and we need to keep energy and everything as high as we can, right? So the buyer is still wanting to move forward with the home, right? Hopefully the home that they want is still available at that point. But we knew very early on that there was a massive need for what we do and how we attack things that are on credit reports. And this next slide will really show you why that is. Okay, so these are charts that are taken from ftc.gov and III.org. So we can see that with the FTC, there's been a massive amount of filings as far as data breaches and files that have been compromised for a consumer. Right, and we see down here at the bottom left, I mean, in 2018, that's 1,200 data breaches. That's quite a bit, 471 million records, right? And a lot of those come from the credit bureaus themselves. Right, we know the breaches that have gone on there. And right, 2019, there was an increase in data breaches, but there were less compromised files. But
yeah, and one thing too, like what Josh was talking about with the customer that Tyson just was bringing up there, he was 621, got him up to like 660. They were approved beforehand. went to rerun them, and then they got disqualified. So as you guys know, the credit box is shrinking. So that's where our services, as far as not only getting people cleaned up, but then also being able to add some trade lines on there to really bolster the overall credit profile to help them pass through. So really ensuring that you, as you're putting in that work, you're spending all that time helping customers pass through underwriting and so forth, getting all those documents together. We can make sure that it's just not a waste of time, that you're ensuring that you are, closing on that deal.
Does that make sense? Everybody good with that? Okay. So with that being said, is with traditional credit repair, right, there comes the general disputes that are sent out to try to remove inquiries, negative accounts that are closed, charged off. Well, with what we do not deal with any kind of creditors directly. We deal directly with the credit bureaus, right? Let's go to the reporting agencies. Let's clean it up at the source. And this stat right here helps us because we use FTC law to our advantage, right? There's all sorts of codes, FCRA, FDCPA, that we just know how to use to a consumer's advantage. Okay, so how it works is really there's a few steps that need to go on. Okay, so what we do is we have a client who comes in, they might not meet the standards to credit qualify for a loan. We know there's a lot of loan packages. I'm not an expert in that, so we'll leave that to you guys. But what we do is when they come through WYPE, what we do is we set them up with their own dashboard. So when they log in, they've fill out their personal information. They're going to have their own portal within our system that gives them a timeline of where they are at. As far as, okay, you've been enrolled, documents are now prepared for you, they've been mailed out. We're going to have a weekly update for the client, right? So they know exactly where they're at, because we know it's, right, communication is key. It's frustrating when you guys have somebody you send to a credit repair place and it goes by a month or two and you're always having to track people down. The reporting gets a little skewed. It's easy to let people fall through the cracks. And we have the system in place to help eliminate that, as far as providing each individual business and consumer with the most transparent reporting and updates as possible.
Yeah, and like, Jeff and a few of you, Eric and whatnot, you guys have talked about, with their building those relationships with them and strengthening that bond. And so really that communication, that attention to detail, and showing the customer that we care and informing them on, every step of the way really kind of goes a long way to where we're seeing not only, once we get that initial person taken care of, they're passing 2 to 3 other people alongside that.
Absolutely. All right, so after they create their account, that's step 2, is we do a credit diagnosis for every client before they pay. So what we want to know is exactly what is on the credit report, so we know where they're at, so we know where to take them. Right now, that is the most difficult part of the situation, right? With all the algorithms, with FICO and Vantage scores, right? Nobody knows exactly how all those algorithms work and everything that goes along with those. We just know from the hundreds of clients that we ran through our system of what to expect. And so we can give kind of an educated guess, right? But we never 100% guarantee anything. We just know that through our time, we have a 95% success rate. And the ones that didn't go through were people who really didn't follow our instructions after they signed up. Okay, so with that being said, we do provide that tailored solution for the client, which is really providing that massive bump in their credit score in a very short turnaround time. What we see now is 30 to 45 days. We actually see a lot of things happen within 14 days. And that is, right, inquiries and some kind of the low-hanging fruit being removed. But to that fully be reflected, right, in a tri-bureau score, we have to wait for that next reporting cycle to hit.
Hey, Tyson, quick question for you.
Yeah.
Before you move on, you mentioned that sometimes they don't follow instructions after they sign up. What might
Correct.
those instructions be for the client?
They're very simple. Don't miss a payment on an open current account, and don't apply for new credit until we're done with our program. Right? That's it.
So they don't need to actively do anything to participate in what you're doing for them. This is just like, hey, don't change your situation.
Yeah, 100%. It's just literally just following those two simple rules. Just don't apply for anything, don't do anything, allow us to do work our magic for them, and just making sure that they're paying on anything that they currently have open. It's really that simple. And then we'll provide them with the updating, the reporting. They'll have the login portal, really everything, every tool that they need to have available to them to feel that they cared for, they know where they're at in the process. They're not just left there wondering, hey, what's going on? Are you guys working on my file or not? Where are we at, type of deal.
Yeah. The most involved the client is in the sign up process, right? And that is, we need a copy of a driver's license. We also need a verification of address, which is a utility bill within 60 days. And then currently they are signing up for credit monitoring, right? So any credit repair agency has that. It is $24.95 per month, but we're working on a solution that will actually streamline that more for the consumer, but we'll talk about that later once that all comes into fruition, but that's probably about a month or so down the road. All right, so we'll go next slide here. So the legal work that we do document preparation, right? So we have our team of lawyers and paralegals. They've been around this space for 30 plus years. There is a 95% success rate, and everything we do is geared around using FTC law to our advantage. Okay, so everything we do is 100% legal and lawful, and we just know how to play the game better than most people.
And we also back that with the money back guarantee as well. We want to let our actions speak for us. A lot of companies will claim they'll get different results in different timeframes, number of inquiries and so forth. But with us, we like to let our actions speak for us. So we back that with the money back guarantee. So.
Yep. Yeah. Eliminate as much risk for the consumer as possible. Absolutely. All right. So like we talked about, timeframes, right? Credit worthiness is, we do guarantee results in as little as 30 days. And we do that after we do the credit diagnosis, right? We don't claim to be a one-all fix-all, is we want to walk people through that consultation first, so we know exactly what we're dealing with. And right, 95+% of Americans, if not higher, have something on there that we can get removed in that 30-day window. Okay. So then with that too, right, is we like to provide value where we can. So we do like having more of a roadmap, which is that long-term strategy at step 6. And so we can continue to provide monitoring, make sure that nothing fishy is going on with people's accounts, right? Because with technology, the way it's going, security is key, but everything can be hacked somehow, right? Identities are compromised all day, every day, right? So we want to provide value that we can make sure that customers have that peace of mind that they're still being protected. We do have a program that we can enroll them in on a month-to-month after they've paid for that initial service, as more of a protection type program where they will get, right, X amount of credit wipes based on what they're paying. Okay. So this one is why us, really what makes us different than the rest of the guys, right? And we feel like where we provide the most value is in two spots, and that is in time, and that is in lower barrier of entry, right? Well, maybe 3, then results are quite a bit better than most, right? But what we do is we do have those results that are across all 3 credit bureaus, and that is a 30-day turnaround. That's pretty quick.
One of the things too, guys, that's in the works, that's going to be super cool for you as you guys are working with clients, is that we're going to build an app. So that way, if someone, you're working with them through the process, you get their credit report, you find out, hey, look, this doesn't look where it needs to be. You can sign them up right then and there. Obviously, the site is simple. It's basically the same thing, but we're trying to build it so that way it's as streamlined and as efficient as possible to appeal to the masses, if you will, and really be able to improve that turnaround time and kick them back to you as quickly as possible.
Yeah, we don't like the open-ended side of credit repair, which is pretty much every other company out there, right? There's over 10,000 credit repair agencies across the United States, and almost all, I'm sure there's a couple that do a fixed cost model, but we like giving that light at the end of the tunnel, or that there is a finite date to what we do. So we have a couple packages that we offer. We'll go over that pricing here in a few, but there is no open-ended with WYPE, right? We don't want to drag people on for 2 years, 3 years, like some competitors do, right? Charging them thousands and thousands of dollars, which we deal with those people coming over to us all day, every day. And that's the negative side. And that's what gives really our industry a bad name. And so we want to really disrupt that industry, flip the script, and
change the narrative.
Exactly. exactly. Right. We do have an easy onboarding process as well as being built to scale with any industry, right? We know that the market cap for real estate is quite large, especially now we know that people are going more to the refinancing route, right? So if we can get people credit, we get their credit restored, get them in a lot better spot, as that we can help get their payments lower. As well as, I mean, people are always going to be looking to buy homes. That's just being more and more difficult as time goes on. Hopefully that changes. I'm not too educated on the trends as far as that coming up in the next few months, but we know how things are now, and we have that solution to help you guys, right, get a client to wherever they need to be. You see at the bottom here, it says 0% interest introductory period funding available after credit wipe for additional buying power. We do have lending partners who are revolutionizing that side of the world as well. They do mostly credit card stacking. They get an average of $35K per client at 0% interest for 18 to 24 months. If anybody needs to go that route, is just looking for funding, we do have relationships in that side of the world as well. And really, we do have a B2B platform, which is the WYPEsolutions.com, which, right, that is more for if we are going to have the broker or lender come on as a partner, and if they are going to, right, offer this as more of a line item in the loan and pay us directly, we have that option available. Any questions so far?
Hey, speak to that last comment a little bit more on paid out of the loan. So they sign up, you're going to do the wipe, you're going to get things off their credit, and are they paying anything up front if it's being paid by the loan?
Actually, the client themselves, no. So we have that with a few mortgage people, and also with the solar side of the world, is that the company, the broker, the dealer, whoever it is that they're engaging for the service, will actually front the cost for them. Right? They can then attach whatever letter of intent or contract with the client that says once the service is completed, they will return to them to, right, install solar, close on the home, whatever that may be. They go more that route. If they don't go back with them, is that they would then bill the customer for the balance that was paid for the service. So it's just a little more incentive to have the client might be loyal to you, come back and utilize your service after we're done.
Yeah, but what we're seeing though is as we clean people up, the loyalty, the customer loyalty is strengthened that much more, right? So a lot of times it's just more so to ensure that, you know, they come back to you. But yeah, when we're seeing them clean up, they're thrilled. They're telling their friends, their family. Now you're able to get more referrals and really build up that book of business in addition to that. So.
Are we good? Okay. All right, so how we differ, again, this is kind of going over some basic things Jeff talked about before too, right, is that we are available in all 50 states. We deal with people right now. I'm pretty sure we have people from all 50, if not pretty close. But what we do and why we're different and how we are built for volume is we use artificial intelligence, right, and machine learning to our advantage. So whenever we run somebody through our program, the machines, right, we have the diagnosis of our credit reports. We know what we need to take off to guarantee or get the best results for each individual client. It takes a lot of files to run through the AI to have that fully understand and do the work for us, which we're hoping is fairly soon, where we have that side of the world fully automated. But yeah, it's we can run any kind of volume we want through that, and that's what we are built for, is built for scale, built for volume, all while producing those exceptional results that people have seen so far. Right, a lot of times is people have credit repair contacts, companies they work with, a friend they know who's good at it, but anytime volume is produced, right, what happens is it takes longer for them to get the clients back to you, or they slip through the cracks, or they just kind of let people go by the wayside and you don't hear from them anymore, right? There is work. It's a tedious process. There's a lot of paperwork specific filings we have to do. With AI and machine learning, right, we simplify that process for ourselves and for the consumer that much more.
Yeah, the algorithm that we've created is really unique and allows us to, again, as Tyson mentioned, produce unprecedented results. So whatever scenario that it is pops up, we have obviously that algorithm to help us establish the best possible solution for each client, whatever scenario that pops up.
Yeah, so with that, I'm going to bring over another screen here real quick. This is just a couple examples of some recent people that have gone through the last couple months, right? So we had somebody that started on January 23rd of this year, right? They started at 543 TransUnion, 540 Experian, and 553 Equifax, right? On 227, so let's see.
It's a month.
Yeah. Say a month later, right, they came back at a TransUnion 681, 764, and 667. All right, second one started on 117.20, 540, 525, 555 right in there. All right, we come down. So this one I think was our longest one that we've seen so far. It was 63 days total. And they still got up though to 673, 655, 666. We know right now that we need a little better result than that to get people in, as far as what we've been hearing from the mortgage side. But then we had one that went from 524, 528, 518, and this was a big jump to 748, 748, and 734, and that was in 33 days. So that's pretty drastic results. That's over 200 points across all three bureaus. That doesn't happen, guys, in traditional credit repair. We know that what we have is unique. A lot of people aren't able to get those results, can't get the results. And along with the timelines, it's unprecedented, right? We can help anybody get to where they want to be.
Hey, Tyson, I got a question about that. I mean, that's pretty dramatic results. That's incredible. I mean,
Yep.
It almost doesn't seem real. But I'm wondering what you're seeing after that, because we know that you're going to get a lot of late payments and stuff off there. There's still going to be re-reporting of some of those negatives that happen later. Yep. Talk a little bit about that, and how is that affecting? I mean, these are pretty dramatic scores right there. 748. That's pretty awesome. Are you seeing a dip after a certain window of time?
Yeah, perfect. Great question, Jeff. And that is the basis of what we do. Is we provide a buying window for the consumer, right? This is more of a Band-Aid fix, right? It's not a permanent thing. The negative items that we get removed, they will sometimes, not all the times, but they will mostly come back after 90 to 120 days when we're done with our program, right? So our program takes 30 to 45. Then from that date, that's when the clock starts for the 90 to 120. So, right, we can prime the client to however they need to be ready to act when we're done.
Yeah, and to add to that, so some of the items, like if they're super old, the inquiries, bankruptcies, closed student, federal or private loans, those typically will not come back whatsoever. The inquiries for sure will stay off. The bankruptcies, once they're closed, discharged, those will stay off. We just don't relieve people of debts, right? So a lot of times if the debt does come back, if it does happen to come back on, all the negative history associated with that payment is now typically erased. Sometimes there's a very some chance that the history might come back with it as well, as far as the late payment history. But again, majority of the time, what we're seeing, nine times out of 10, the history is erased. So all the essentially what needs to happen now is the customer just starts paying on time on that debt moving forward after that 120-day mark. And then again, that will actually help bolster their score even more. So it really hits kind of like a refresh button with that debt and that payment history.
You there? Okay.
Yep. Good. I'm good. That's awesome. Thanks.
Awesome. Yeah, right. So with that being said too, right, is when we go and we clean off all the negative things, this person here who had the 200-point jump across all three bureaus, right, they still had actually quite a bit of positive history on there, right? They had some older revolving accounts that were really, I mean, I think they were 10 years old. Yeah, they had over 10K on those lines, right? Which is for best resulting there. And so it's rare that we see that big of a jump without having to do some kind of extra step, right? And what we have as well in our toolbox, right, is the ability to add some authorized user trade lines on accounts, right, which is essentially, let's say you have a family member who has great credit and you want to be added on their cards, right? They can add you on as an authorized user. You have the ability to essentially use their good credit history, but you don't get to spend any of the money, right? So we have a platform as well that we can add those on for individuals. We don't deal with primary trade lines. Primaries, right? I mean, that is like you owning that debt. That is not legal. So if anybody offers you primary trade lines, don't talk to them. But authorized users are 100% legal and lawful. And we have a whole platform built out for that if people need an extra bump as far as decreasing DTI or just adding some positive history on their accounts.
And that's really what is a game changer too, is not only with the work that we do in cleaning people's credit up and the big jumps that we get, you know, average being anywhere from 120 to 200 points, to really get that extra jump, if you will. That's where adding on those trade lines really helps bolster that, you know, the DTI, credit utilization, all those things that across the board that underwriting is going to look at, you know, so.
Jeff, you have something?
Part of your initial consultation with the clients then is not only what you're going to get off of their credit, but the predictability of adding trade lines and what that's going to do to their score as well. Is that part of the initial conversation?
Absolutely.
For sure. We do it in a kind of a two-step process. Initially, we'll do the wipe. And then once we pull their credit report, see where everything that has been removed, then we'll obviously run through our algorithms, our scenarios, and add the appropriate trade line. Because again, the whole goal is not just to clean people up and add trade lines on, is to help them actually accomplish the goal. We're in the business of helping them get into that home. And so that's where we want to make sure that we kind of do it in that two-step process to really ensure that what we're doing is actually going to help them, you know, accomplish the goal.
Yeah, so we do bring up the trade lines in our first talk if we feel like that's something that's going to be an issue or that is a probability that we need to do after the fact.
Perfect.
Okay, there.
Yep. Perfect.
Okay. All right, so we'll go to the next slide here. So with the, right, we do have that tailor-made solution. Even though we are utilizing AI, we do know exactly what to take off for every individual client, right? We're not just sending general form letters. It varies based on what people have on their credit reports. It's not we print off a couple forms, right? Attach a couple FCRA codes to it and send it out. That's not the most effective way to do credit repair. And so we know that. We know all the documents that are required. We know how to make those documents look a certain way as far as coding goes for each individual client to get those best results. Okay, so along with that is we do remove unlimited negative marks. There is no amount of marks that we can't take off, right? Sometimes, hey, like the credit report that we showed you that took 63 days, sometimes we do have to do a second credit wipe for the customer. That just depends on what is remaining after we do our initial wipe. But we know that second one that we go through and we get them cleaned up more often than not, that's taking the rest of all that negative history out there that gets them to where they need to be.
Yeah, and what we're finding is a lot of the other credit repair companies out there is they're charging per item per bureau, right? Per inquiry. So you're looking at, you know, when we saw $35 per inquiry per bureau, right? And so with us, it doesn't matter how many inquiries, how many different accounts, how many, you know, across all three bureaus, it's all inclusive, if that makes sense. So we're not nickel and diming and, oh, okay, this item's going to cost this is going to cost this. And again, you know, it's very rare to find people that can get student loans and bankruptcies removed like we can and actually keep those off.
Yeah. And to touch on that point just for a second too, is that BKs and closed student loans, those take about 60 to 90 days. And that is about a 70% removal rate, right? So that's not guaranteed we will get those off, but more often than not, we are seeing that happen. That just takes a little longer so we can make sure we set those expectations properly with the client.
Right. There's just obviously more work involved with those.
Yeah.
Hey, Tyson, another quick question before you move on. Sorry, I mean, you guys are all welcome to unmute yourself and ask a question. I don't need to be the only one asking questions. But just for clarification, you mentioned something, you brushed over it. Wondering if you can explain what you meant by attaching codes to the document. I missed the acronym that you mentioned, but you say that the documents you submit, you attach a code to. What does that mean?
Yeah, so absolutely. So there are a few agencies out there, right, for consumer protection. And a couple of those laws and codes that were passed through were actually written by, right, Lexington Law. They're kind of the 800-pound gorilla in the credit repair world, right? And that is FCRA, which is the Fair Credit Reporting Act, and FDCPA, which is Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, right? So there are certain codes within those that stipulate certain things that we are allowed to dispute and have them actually remove for that time frame to make sure that they can prove that those debts are in fact valid. I mean, just so you have a general understanding of how that works, is we fight things, right, on the basis of identity theft, right? If we go back a few slides here, right, this right here, there is a lot of identity theft going on. If we look at this top graph here, right at the bottom, there's an average of a little over 400,000 per year that are being reported to FTC that are identity theft complaints with the FTC.
Another thing is too is we find like companies will tack on additional fees and dollar amounts that weren't part of the original debt too. And so we want to make sure that everything is accurate. So if there is a debt that is owed by the client, that it is the accurate amount as well, and that all the information is correctly inputted, within throughout the bureaus. So again, it's really trying to make sure that we're taking care of the customer, making sure that there's no funny business going on as far as whoever they may owe some money to, and ensure that obviously the best outcomes for them on top of that.
Yeah. So what we do is that when we attach those codes within those, the FCRA and FDCPA, there is a couple other things as far as data furnishing and how the agencies can report information on consumers. Is when we send those out to the credit bureaus, right, they have 4 business days to respond to the documents that we send. From there, right, they send out their letters to the creditors themselves, and they have to provide 16 very specific items that prove that that debt is valid. And that is why we see that 90 to 120 day time frame after we're done. Is most often they're not going to do it. It costs them more money, more time to go back and verify all that information as it is just to remove it and let it be. We know that creditors themselves, they make plenty of money, right? They charge us a lot of interest and not getting a whole lot charged on their end on the backside of that. And so we just know, like I said before, our team of paralegals, financial lawyers, FTC lawyers, we know how to use the system to our advantage. And everything it's not difficult to find, but it's difficult how to package everything together to get the best results. And that just comes from trial and error, right? And over 15 years, we've figured out that solution to obviously get those results. Does that make sense there, Jeff? Everything good with that?
Yeah, thanks for that.
Hey, I got a question for you guys.
Okay.
So I have a client that's having an issue with a car repo. How does that work on you guys' end?
Yeah. Has the car been repossessed already?
Yes, it has.
Okay. Has it already been sold at auction? Now they've came back with the difference?
That I do not know.
Okay. When your client gets the letter, right, stating the amount that they actually owe after that car has been auctioned off, at that point, yes, because that's an unsecured debt, right? And that's pretty easy to get off there because there's no asset attached to it. Mm-hmm. And that brings up the good point too, right, is that we only deal with closed accounts, right? We don't deal with any kind of open positive accounts that are there because, right, obviously if we're going to get inquiries removed that are attached to those accounts, that's going to remove that whole account itself. And so really we remove everything tied to those closed accounts.
Okay.
Does that make sense there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, closed, charged off.
Yeah. Yeah, but repossessions, we deal with those all the time. They just have to be, they just have to get that new balance that's that's owed after that car is auctioned off.
Do you know how long it was since they got it repoed?
Well, I talked to my lender, and it sounded like to me it was kind of recent, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I'm assuming probably within the last year.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to do, we could do a three-way call with you and the customer or something like that. Whatever you can do, we can answer questions to help, man. So
Okay, yeah, I'll get in touch with him and then touch bases with you guys later on.
sounds great.
Yeah. Usually with repos, they get if it's been a year, chances are pretty good that that car's already been off. They've collected their money, and so that should be good to go.
Beautiful, great, thank you.
Yep, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, guys. I mean, really, what we do, it's not rocket science, but it just comes from time, right? Time and effort being around it. It's a fight that a lot of people don't really want to be in. They don't enjoy it. It's a grind, but we started this to really flip the script, change the narrative, like Kyle was saying, with credit repair, and to really more empower the consumer to get back on track, right? Get some hope, because we know now that the way the financial system is, right, it's been stacked against consumers for a long time, right? And we want to make sure that if people made a couple bad mistakes, if they had some unfortunate circumstances that happened to them, right, that shouldn't be something that's going to hold them down forever, where they have to go and file bankruptcy as their only way out, or right, leave the country and go start a new life somewhere else, right? Is we do operate in a free enterprise system, which is the great part about this country. But unfortunately, the financial system has let a lot of people down, and we want to help people now get back ahead of the curve and really give them that light at the end of the tunnel, that there is something more out there for them.
It really is. If you guys really think about it, I mean, we've all probably had some time or another where we've dinged up our credit or had something happen, or we know somebody that, that's had messed up credit and they can't get approved, and that weight of that shoulders where, you're talking to a customer, she lives in a 3-bedroom apartment, has 8 kids and trying to get into a home, just stuff like that, to where we're able to help clean them up and help them get into their townhome. That's what's really cool, is to be able to really make a difference and help them get from point A to point B when there was no light at the end of the tunnel before they spoke to us. So it's just things like that, to where we truly want to help people and make a difference in this world. Because like Tyson said, the financial institution is stacked against us as far as interest rates and so forth. It is unique. So
yeah, absolutely. Right. And with that being said, is that we did want to do something when we talked about earlier about cost, right? Is we wanted to be known as those guys who had the lowest barrier of entry in our industry. With that being said, is we do have a couple options that we present to our clients, right? Is the total cost of our service is $1,050. Okay. And what that is here, let me I'm going to pull up our site here real fast. So our B2B site is WYPEsolutions.com. Our B2C site is WYPE.io, right? So we are the tech company. So as we pull this up here, right, we got our little squeegee guy coming down. He's our little mascot. He's actually going to be our chat bot as well, that will be on there, right? So it just kind of walks through the site, walks through how a customer is going to go through the system. It's simple, it's clean, it's straightforward, right? It walks people down through what the benefits are. We have a couple testimonials from our clients. And then these are the 2 options that are offered, right? So we have an $800 one-time payment. That saves the client $250 off the total cost of the service. And the other option is that $150 for 7 months, right? Which brings the total cost to $1,050. With that as well, like I said before, is there's that credit monitoring that is required, which is $24.95 per individual. But we are working on a solution that will ease that payment and make that more simple for the customer as well.
yeah, and they only need to keep the credit monitoring initially really for 90 days, just so we can do a before and after snapshot, but they can keep it as long as they want. So they don't have to keep the credit monitoring forever if they don't want to.
Yeah. So this $150 a month for 7 months, we still actually do the work the first month. We wanted to make sure that we could, right, reach the masses, be able to get volume in, which is what we are built for. And at that price point, anybody can afford $150 a month, or have a way to get that. And that just takes on more risk from our side, right? Is there is a possibility that they might not pay the remaining months, But we know that the work that we do, we actually are getting 2 referrals minimum for every client that we take care of. And so if we miss a couple payments on the back end, we know that what's coming in fresh is going to more than make up for that.
And we understand that time's of the essence as well. So we don't want to have people wait 7 months before they see those actual results that we've been talking about. So yeah, first 30 to 45 days, we aggressively attack the credit reports. But yeah, know the work's being done right off the bat.
Right, because we know too that there's credit repair guys out there who are charging less. Right, they're charging $49 a month, $79 a month. But what are the results you're getting? Right, how often are they coming back to you? What time frames are they coming back to you? Right, I mean, when people present that argument to us, and we actually sit down and we compare a list of what they produce, what they provide, and really what kind of score increase the customer is getting. Right, it's comparing apples and oranges. Right, we can't compare 2 very, very different companies and the results they provide and put those in the same category, right? Because everything in this world is you get what you pay for, right? And so, but we understand too that with what we have is, hey, we're giving people an opportunity now to pay what is well below what industry standard is for our service. Just so you understand too, is we started this service selling it at $1,500, right? Flat rate, no payment plan. We have people in New York, in California, and Florida who were business owners who were paying up to $4 to $5 grand for this service, right? So the value is there, but not everybody can pay that amount. And there's a lot more people than just like the upper echelon that need the service. And so we knew that we are in a volume game, right? We're not in the saturation. We want to help as many people as we can, increase our reach to as many people as we can across all 50 and just over time, right? And that's from talking to Jeff and Lynn, that's from talking to other partners of making this more feasible for the average consumer to be able to utilize our service.
Hey, while we're talking about cost, guys, Kyle, you had mentioned to Brenton that he could get on a call with you and his client about that repo. Is there a fee involved for you guys to do an initial consultation and kind of lay out the groundwork for somebody?
No, free consultation. That's what we provide. I mean, we're here to provide any assistance that we possibly can. So yeah, there's no charge for that.
So when our buyers come back and say, hey, I talked to my lender, I qualified last month, but I don't qualify now because of the new guidelines, things are changing. I need to have such and such as a credit score in order to move forward. That's where we would want to just get them on the phone with you and have you take a look at their credit and map out a game plan.
Yeah, and the other cool thing is too, is sometimes if people are right there and they just need that quick bump, we can just go ahead and do an assessment and see if we just need to add a trade line on there, and we could actually get them back to you in 8 days if that's the case. So if we don't need to necessarily do a wipe, we can just add a trade line on there to help bolster the score even more. So again, we really have a solution for every scenario if you really think about it and break it down. So it's just really us just get on the phone with you, shoot the questions away, and we'll take a look at the customer's, reports and see what we can put together for them.
I love it. I love it. And guys, keep in mind too, this is going to be information that you may want to share with your lenders because they're going to see your clients first, right? When they're getting them ready to buy a home, and they're going to be privy to their credit situation. And so when they can double back and say, hey, Brenton, that company that you told me about, we need to hook this particular client up with them. It kind of would make that dialogue a little bit more seamless, right? To offer solutions. And that's what we want for our clients. We want to give them all the options so that they can make the best choice for themselves, right? And this is a great option for some people, not for everybody, but don't keep it a secret. I think you need to share this kind of information with your lenders.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Jeff.
Did I miss all your contact information as far as being able to send our clients to you?
Nope, so we'll get that coming right there.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, and if you would like to, we can customize, we have some brochures that we can customize for anybody who wants to send that out to a customer. Like if you want to be more like the broker of the deal, right? Where you want your name attached to that as well, just to make sure they know where it's coming from. Also within, if you go to wipesolutions.com, which is our which is our B2B site, you can actually fill out an inquiry on there that will auto-populate into our CRM. That will have your contact information, and then we would reach out to you and we can talk about how we build a customized solution for you and your customers, right? So that we can streamline that. It makes it very easy to pass reporting back and forth, whatever.
Yeah, so like Angie, for you, like if you wanted to have it to where you had your own portal, it'd be like wipesolutions.com/Angie. And then that way, as each customer that you ever refer to that domain, they'll have their unique own code. So that way we can keep track of all the customers coming in and for you that way. So for tracking, reporting purposes, you have your own dashboard you can log into. So we really have built this up to be able to help the partners as far as when it comes to transparency and customer flow.
Sorry about that. My dog's freaking out.
Yeah, no,
No
you
worries.
got that good guard dog, right?
So Kyle, for clarification, I mean, that's awesome. You've got kind of like a subdomain for the clients that are sending people your way. I might have missed it, but tell us again how you actually register for that and get one.
Yeah, you just simply just go to, like Tyson said, to wipesolutions.com. Just fill out the form that we have on there, and then we will reach out to you and we'll create a custom solution for you that literally takes, we already have those things prepped and ready to go, so we can have a quick turnaround time on that.
I
So
love
it's
it.
just simply going to wipesolutions.com and filling out the form
All
at
right,
the bottom.
so yeah, the
or
top, you
schedule
can
a
just
call.
click schedule a call. It'll take you to the bottom of the page, and you're going to fill this information out here. Submit. That will come directly to us. We'll get notified when somebody wants a call, and then we will schedule that appointment, talk about what the needs are based on the individual, whether that's the business or the client themselves, and come up with a plan from there.
Awesome. No, that's great. That gives us a whole nother avenue to market, to offer value to our friends and our clients, you know, to market that site like that. That's perfect. I love it.
Yeah, so either way, so if you just want to refer a customer over, just wipe.io, or if you want to have it to where you feel like you're going to have more repeat customers, continue on a continual basis and want to kind of be able to track that, have more in-depth, robust platform for yourself, then Wipe Solutions would be the avenue you'd want to take. But yeah, simple one-offs here or there, wipe.io will be more than sufficient for you. Any other questions?
We got the contact info, okay?
Yeah, take a screenshot,
So,
guys.
I got a question for you guys real quick.
Yeah.
A lot of times we get clients that have been working towards buying a house. So they've been really clean for a year or two, but may possibly have, you know, old lates or accounts that they've actually are in good standing now, but they're still open accounts, but they have lates on them in the past. So you mentioned you don't work on accounts that are still open and good standing. Would you be able to do anything about those past lates 2 or 3 years ago, or do you just kind of leave those alone and try to bump the score other ways?
We leave those alone, honestly, Eric. Once they reach that 2-year-old mark, and there's been positive history up until right today's date from that point, is that's impacting the credit score maybe 1 or 2 points is all. Right, that's not going to affect them too much. I don't know how that affects underwriting. I haven't had that be an issue so far with anybody that we've dealt with. But yeah, once they're that old and they've shown positive history on that same account, yeah, it's not an issue.
Yeah, it actually does more harm than good. Typically what we've seen, if we end up removing those accounts that have, like, you know, let's say like 2 or 3 months where they have a 30-day late payment, 60 days, 90 days, but then they're on time every day, every month moving forward. Removing that tends to actually do more harm than good. So in that case, what you want to do is just, okay, let's go on and clean up anything else that we can, and then add some trade lines to help just bolster that would probably be the best route for that scenario.
Okay.
And sometimes too, creditors will even remove those for them, right? If the consumer would call in, we had a guy who had a car loan with BMW Financial, right? And he had a recent missed payment because they changed the terms with all the craziness going on. And it showed a late payment, but he's been positive from day one till the end there. And so he actually called them up and said, hey, I've been responsible. I've been making payments for X amount of years, right? And haven't missed a payment. So can we get this removed? And a lot of times they'll take that off for you. Sometimes they'll ask for a little bit of a payment, right? To bring a little extra money for them. But they will more often than not actually remove those for the customer themselves.
Very nice. We had a chat question too. Is there a cost for married clients? Is it the same or?
Yeah, so the cost for the service is per individual.
Okay.
We do have a more of a couple's discounted price that we don't have on the site. I mean, we just knock another $100 off if they want to pay one time up front. But other than that, that's per individual.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yep. All right, guys, anybody else?
Chime in, either chat if you can't talk, or go ahead and unmute yourself and ask questions. This has been great information, guys, but I want to make sure somebody's got a lingering question, we grab it before we wrap up.
One other question I have too is if a client says, hey, I think I'm on the edge, I'd like to buy a house, I've been following my score, but they haven't gone to their lender yet.
Mm-hmm.
Have you found kind of the best resource for them to look up and say, hey, pull your credit through my FICO or Experian, or just say, where are you at right now? And let's see if you maybe need some help before we talk to a lender, or do you prefer just, hey, let's talk to the lender, pull your credit, see where we're at, and then go to work on it?
Either way, either one.
Yeah, either way. I mean, with our credit monitoring that we use, right now we use Smart Credit for our monitoring. That gives us a tri-bureau report every 30 days, right? So we can see where they're at across all three. They're Vantage based, not FICO based. So really it would depend on each client, and we just want to make sure too, right, that when they're going through pre-approvals, right, there's never ever any chance of a hard pull coming in of showing inquiries on there. As long as we have a decent solution, it doesn't matter where it's coming from.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, guys. So, and just for your information, we are located in South Jordan. Our office building is off of 106 South on the west side of the freeway, in the same parking lot with the Holiday Inn. So we're in the glass building, the Motive Health building.
Next to like Avanti and Lucid Software. So.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to come in the office or bring a customer in the office, set up a time with us, we're more than happy to have you guys come in.
Fantastic. Well, I think that was awesome information, guys. If there's no more questions, we're going to let these guys go. For those of you that know, we have our next class is at 1:30, where we're simply just going to do an EXP brokerage model overview for those that are interested. Anybody that's on this call, or if you have guests coming in, I'll probably log off this Zoom, but it's the same link, and we'll start that at 1:30. Kyle and Tyson, you guys are awesome. I appreciate this info. It gives us just another tool to help our clients.
Yeah,
sure. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for your time.
Yep.
Really appreciate you guys. Thanks so much.
Yep.
One of my favorite agents that I follow through EXP is actually in Texas. He says, people that get pre-qualified buy houses. So if you can just get people qualified, get their credit in line, they're going to go buy something from you. So
absolutely.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's what's cool. For sure. And so, yeah, if you have people that are looking to take that start, like what the scenario you're just talking about, yeah, we can pull the score, take a look at it, come up with a plan, then get them over to the lender. So.
Yeah. He always says, hey, if you want to go sell a house, go get 5 or 10 people to talk to a lender and pull their credit and see where they're at. Cause you'll get some that can get approved, or that are close, that can get some credit repair done. And they might not know how close they are, so if you know people that are renting, or, maybe looking for a transition, and they don't think that they can qualify, just get them in front of a lender and get them in front of you guys and just see where they're at.
Sure. And one thing too, I was going to mention, I know Jeff, you guys have like kind of your renter program where people that rent from you, that the time you let them out of their leases, if they're looking to purchase a home, that's another thing too, is we can kind of come up with a solution where people who are renting and they're looking to buy a home, if their credit's not exactly where they want it to be, that's where we can start work with them beforehand, so that once their lease is up or once they're ready, boom, we can make that transition. So we can kind of, obviously, if we want to start targeting people like that too, that are renting currently, that you have contacts with. Let's get together with them and help them bolster that score to get them into a home.
What a great point. What a great thought. When you're talking to people that are renting, just ask them, hey, when is your lease up? How much time do you got? Are you planning on renewing for another year, or would you like to buy a house?
Right, exactly.
Start planning ahead a little bit. Love that.
All right, guys. Thanks again. You guys got their contact information. Hopefully you took a screenshot of that. If not, reach out to me or Eric and we'll get that to you. So if questions come into your mind as you're thinking about this content that they shared with you, reach out to them. They're very accessible. They're here to help us. Got a great thing going, and let's make it part of our business.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you very much for having us.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. See ya.
Thank you.
Guys.